Hey friends, welcome to a brand new episode of Lose Weight with Macros, the basics with your host Verona. Today, friends, we are doing a Q&A. And this Q&A is focused on the fat loss group coaching related. So if you've gone to the website vianutritioncoaching.co.uk/focus, you've heard the episodes, you've heard me talking about it for weeks now, and you're still unsure, you still don't know what it is. These are some Q&As that will help you decide whether or not this is for you. Grab your tea, grab your matcha, grab your water, grab your coffee. If you're new here, buckle up, sister friend, because today's episode is going to answer your questions when it comes to focus on the fat loss. Hey friend, welcome to Lose Weight with Macros, the basics podcast show with me, your host Verona, where I believe if you are the woman that you are struggling to lose weight, you're sick of crash diets, fad diets, and gimmicks, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to get the results that you want, you are in the right place. If you're somebody who's overwhelmed by all of the conflicting information out there, you're confused about how much protein you should be eating, how to count macros, you don't have time to figure out your macros, and you're sick and tired of repeating the same old boring meals because it is exhausting, you are in the right place. Because, my friend, this Lose Weight with Macros Basics podcast is specifically for you. You're the woman who wants to learn how to track your macros and do it sustainably, do it in a way that you can enjoy your foods and you don't have to cut out your favorite foods, and we're not here for that. So, my friends, if this is you, grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your water, grab your matcha, your notepad and pen, because today's episode is going to be a juicy one and you're going to need to take notes. So buckle up, friends, let's get it. Now, friends, when it comes to focus on the fat loss, it's an 8-week group coaching program. It's specifically focused on tracking your macros. Now, the first question is, what is focus on the fat loss and who is it for? This is my signature macros course for women and mums who are overwhelmed when it comes to your fat loss, and you actually specifically want to count and track your macros, but you have no clue. You have no clue. You've just DIY'd them. You've gone on to Dr. Google and you've said, how do I use my macros for fat loss? And you've searched so many different websites. You've gone to so many different Facebook groups and said, can I get a macros check? And you've been inundated by those who are in the group and then some coaches who are lurking in the group in the background, but you are still confused. Now, the thing is, these are not personalized macros for you. They're just based on what information that you tell them at the time, but they're not honing in on specifics when it relates to you. It's a bit like the calculators when they just give you a generic and random number, but when you're not losing weight, you're wondering why you're not losing weight. It's because it's not customized and personalized to you. So it's my signature 8-week group coaching program for you if you fall into that category and you're sick and tired of doing yo-yo dieting, you're sick and tired of having the shake diet, you're sick and tired of all of these things and not seeing any results for it, and you want to have a sustainable way, you actually want to track your macros, or you're the woman who's never heard of macros before, but you actually like the idea of tracking your macros and being able to still eat and enjoy the foods that you like while still losing fat and tackling your self-sabotage mindsets, and also learning what you need to do to maintain the weight, because you've lost weight in the past, you know how to lose weight, but you struggle with maintaining it. This is the program for you. So the next question is, how much is it and how do I get it? Now, this is something that we commonly ask a lot when it comes to money. How much is it? Because we want to know how much skin we need to put in the game, and we need to know how much we can afford it. That's a normal question to ask, and I'm not going to fluff this up and give you some elaborate answer. I'm going to get straight to it. If you're new here, this is what I do here. I get straight to the point, because for me, when I want to know how much something is, I don't want your elaborate sales message or your sales pitch. Just tell me how much it is, and then I'm going to go away and do what I need to do. I've either got the money all together at once to pay in full, or I've got the money to do a payment plan up front and then sort out other things above that. So 3 payment plans of $77 with a $99 payment up front when you sign up on the website vianutritioncoaching.co.uk. Or if you're somebody who can afford to do this, pay in full option, it is $299, and this includes access to all content. And the reason why I've priced it at this amount is because I wanted to make this as accessible to everyone by including a pay now option and a payment option. Now, I understand we are in troubling times, which is why I've created this payment plan, and I've also put it at this price, which is affordable, and I actually want to help you get results at the same time. The next question is, what is the best way to get started? Now, focus on the fat loss is, as I've said, my signature macros course for women and and mums trying to lose weight, specifically through nutrition and through macros. Now, it will help you develop a solid nutrition plan because I focus on creating your own customized macros for you and for your specific goals and your lifestyle. Now, it's going to give you the tools that you need to make smarter decisions when it comes to your food, when it comes to your nutrition, when it comes to your activity that you do, your exercise, and when it comes to your mindset, and when it comes to how you focus and manage stress. Yes, my friends, we are going to cover all of that in 8 weeks. Now, when you're talking about a program when it comes to weight loss, the key thing that we want to know is how long is it going to take you to see results from this program. Now, before I want to get into this, I want you to meet Naya. Now, Naya says, I was afraid to sign up for macro coaching because I didn't think that I could do it. I thought it would be too hard and that I'd fail like I'd failed all other diets before. But then a friend of mine told me about Verona, and I saw this, I scoured it, I read the website over and over again, I read her testimonials, I've listened to her podcast every single episode. The more that I listened to Verona, I realized that this was the perfect thing for me. And it didn't just have everything that I needed to get started losing weight, but it also gave me back the confidence and the support that I needed to succeed where I hadn't succeeded in diets long term before. And you know what? I'm so glad that I took the leap. I had the courage to take the leap and I made the change and I don't regret it. Now that I've lost 10 pounds, my husband is noticing more than ever how much better that I look. And he even told me the other day that he's looking forward to seeing what else happens when we reach our goals together. Now, how long it takes to see results depends on you. This is not a program that gives you your free quick fixes to fat loss, lose fat fast in these easy 3 steps. This isn't that type of program. That's why I've limited it to 20 women who are serious about making these changes. If you're done with dieting and you want to ditch the diets and you want to ditch the quick fixes, this is the program that will show you how to do that. It isn't for you if you're somebody who's worried and focused on how many results that I can get, when can I get my results quickly, and if you're somebody who is trying to drop 20 pounds for your girlfriend's wedding next month, this isn't that program. And if that's you, then I encourage you to stop listening to the podcast here because you're not going to get those tips here. So that's what Naya had to say, and that answers that question. So we're asking a question when it comes to being overweight, when it comes to struggling with diets. The natural question that can come up often is, will this work for me? It's granted, if you're listening to me, you don't see me. You see me if you're on Instagram and you happen to catch my stories and you see them on Facebook, you'll see my face and you'll see how I speak and how I look. But if you've never worked with me before and you're stumbling upon me because somebody's told you about this episode or they've shared it with you, it is natural for you to ask, will this work for me? So Brenda was skeptical about signing up for macros, and she says this: I was skeptical about signing up for macros coaching, and I think a lot of women feel the same way. Tell me about it, Brenda. We don't want to think about food, let alone plan our meals and count calories. But it's not as hard as you might think. And working with Verona has made it easier than I could have imagined. The way that she walks through the process with me, and one thing that I actually liked about Verona is she made sure that I knew what to do every single step of the way. And that was important for me because I've struggled with that myself. I've not had that person to encourage me or to tell me I'm doing a good job. And I know I can do that myself, but it means that so much more for me, especially as my love language is words of affirmation. And that you're doing a good job goes such a long way for me because I've failed so many diets before and it's just been overwhelming when I look on the scale and I don't see anything changing and I just feel so defeated. Now, I personally was able to meet my goal within the 8 weeks, and now I have more energy than I've ever had before. And so, my friends, if you were like me at the beginning, I am being that friend for you to tell you, if this is you, if you know you want to lose weight through counting macros, you've had a bad experience with macros before and you're distrustful of coaches, Verona is the real deal. And thank you, Brenda. Thank you for that. And that is important. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to give you the real deal. And you might be like, well, who are you? I've never met you before. I'm going to share a little bit of a story in a second. I'm going to ask a couple more questions and then we are going to get into it a little bit deeper. So we've got another question that says, can you take focus on the fat loss more than once? So can you sign up for it now when we start? And then can you do it again and again? Or is this something that should just be once when I sign up now and then that's it? So my way of teaching is this: if you are somebody who needs that extra accountability and you want to do the program, you will sign up at the initial cost, but if you do it again, there is a discount for you if you sign up and do the program again. However, the way that I've structured this program is to give you the tools that you need to maintain your results afterwards. That's one of the main pillars of this program. How do you maintain your results once you've lost the weight? Mindset, nutrition, and maintaining are the three pillars on this. So we're talking about your mindset. We're digging deep into self-sabotage, why you self-sabotage, what self-sabotage means, how you can stop self-sabotaging. Now, the promise isn't that all of these things are going to be resolved in 8 weeks. For some of you, you're just going to be getting started. So naturally, you may feel like, I want to do this round and I want to do it again. And I actually want to focus on working on my mindset a little bit more. So there's that aspect of it. We won't be teaching anything different if you do sign up for the second time. It will be the same materials that you learned on the first round, but you definitely will get a discount and won't have to pay the full price that you did when you first joined. So if you are in those categories, then there are two options. But the way that I teach you is, and the coach that I am, is to equip you with the tools that you need to maintain it. So that's why I've created these 3 specific pillars for you to help you dig into the mindsets that hold you back, and to help you dig into the tools, grab hold of the tools that will help you successfully maintain this weight for the long term. So I want to get to this question. Speaking of mindset, we want to go into this next question. And the thing is that when it comes to questions, don't be shy to ask questions. There is no silly question. Now, this question, these are all great questions that you've asked, and I want to get to them all in today's episode. So this question says, I don't know how to start changing my mindset around food and weight loss. I'm scared that it won't work for me. And if I spend all this money on something that doesn't work, then what do I do? So how can you help me get started with changing my mindset around food and being healthy? Brilliant question. It's a valid question, and many of us have that mindset barrier from holding us back, because think about it. You're doing diets, you're finding out this brand spanking shiny new diet, and you've got high hopes for this diet to work. All of the others haven't worked for you. This is it. This is my time. This is now it's going to work for me. I'm going to go back to my childhood weight. I'm going to go back to my 20s weight. I'm going to go back to my pre-baby weight jeans. Whatever the goal is for you, that is your goal. That's what you want so much. So it's natural that you're coming around and asking this question, because you know that I'm a mindset coach and you want to know how my skills as a mindset coach can actually help you change your own mindset when it comes to food and it comes to weight loss. Now, I remember when it all started for me, when I really experienced rejection. I was 3 years old, and 3 years old, when it comes to trauma, 3 years old is an age that trauma can be triggered. It can happen at any age. It can happen in adult age. But when we're 3 years old, it is likely that if you've experienced a trauma at such a young age, its memory stays with you, and then it develops into further things, or it can develop into further things. So for me, that was my most traumatic experience as a child in my entire life. So I was 3 years old, and this is a big story for me to share. I was 3 years old, grew up in a home with domestic violence, and witnessing domestic violence at such a young age, or hearing it, whether you see it, whether you hear it, it's the fact that you witness it. They're both forms of witnessing domestic violence. And before I go into this, the time that I'm talking about, it is going to get a little bit vulnerable. It's going to get a little bit raw. So I just want to let you know, if you've got any things that this might trigger, any young ears, they don't want to be listening to this. So just before we get into that. So my experience of domestic violence wasn't nice. And I don't want to go into it too much, but it wasn't a nice experience to actually hear that or witness that. But that wasn't the biggest thing of rejection for me. The biggest thing of rejection for me was growing up in a house where I had a mom, where I had a dad, a man and a female, and those were assigned to have responsibility over me, or parental responsibility over me, to train me up in the way that I should go. So I'm not departing from these things and these ways that I've been raised. However, the man that I thought was my dad, that I called dad confidently, or daddy, I can't remember what it was that I called him, through a domestic violence argument, he turned around and said, "Don't call me dad. I am not your dad." And I don't really remember what I did at the time. I was 3, but I tell you that memory never left my head, because it rehearsed in my head over and over again. And what it did is, that's when everything started. That is when the seed of rejection opened. There were things that came out, said that you're not wanted, you don't belong here. I don't cry because and I get emotional. I don't cry because I'm not over it. I cry because there are many of us who have gone through that trauma. Some of us are adults and we've gone through that trauma. And that is a trauma that can break anybody. And I'll never forget it, because it just rung in my head for years and years and years later, that you're not wanted. You're not wanted. You're not loved. You're a mistake. Nobody loves you. You don't belong in this earth. Take your life. It would be better if you weren't in this life, because nobody would remember you. Nobody would miss you. Nobody would miss you anyway. So yeah, that was the rejection. And growing up, I can't remember what age it was, But growing up, that then became my identity. That I rehearsed that so much in my mindset, and I rehearsed that so often, that became a belief, that became a strong belief. And it wasn't until the age of 18 that I started to understand a little bit more. So from the ages of 3 upwards, growing upwards, poverty, growing up in a poverty house, and I kind of visited the childhood area that I lived in. It was so run down, it was so dead, and it was like the things were still in the same place. I didn't have the same memories when I went back there, but it literally I had the impression that that represents so much death, it represents so much brokenness, it represents so much bitterness for me. And now, as a Christian woman, as a woman of faith, I see how much I've grown and how much God has changed me to be where I am today. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all doom and gloom. But in that stage, the things that I use to cope between coming out from eating tuna and rice every single day. And now that's why I don't like tuna. To this day, don't give me tuna. Or corned beef, or some Caribbean people call it bullet beef and rice, or I don't know what you call it. It's not like, it's similar to spam, but it's broken down. Or it might just be corned beef, the same thing. Corned beef and rice, that would go for days. We'd have that for breakfast with some crunchy toast. We'd have that with some rice and tomato ketchup. That would go for days, as long as so would tuna. So growing up in that environment, when I hit 16, the age that I was, you're starting to go to secondary school now. Where I was, they gave you like this education maintenance allowance. That's what it was called. So £30 a week seemed like £300. And that is when, at the age of 16, that I discovered fast food. And oh my gosh, I discovered all of the foods that I couldn't have, all of the foods that I couldn't afford, all of the sweets that I couldn't afford, all of the fizzy drinks that I couldn't afford. I would just go into sweet shops and just look at them and be like, one day I'll be able to buy these foods. One day I'll be able to eat these foods. So from that age, but from 16 to 18, when I went to college, I started to discover chicken burger and chips and a drink, and McChicken burger, chips and a drink every single day. That's what I used to have 4 days in a week, every single day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, I used to have fast food. And the reason why I had it is because it was an escape. It was an escape. I loved the food. It was an endorphic rush that I've never had before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Give me more. And then it started to develop into an addiction, because I would eat when I was hungry. I would eat when I was sad. And it all stemmed from when I was younger. It all stemmed from when I was a child. And how you can change, or how I bring the tools to you to change your mindset and your relationship with food, is we're digging deep into those things. Now, let me tell you, it's not counseling, because I later went on to go and get counseling, and I had to dig deep, and I had to identify the root for me. And the root for me was rejection. That was everything from a child. That's when it started for me. So some of you might come and you might, through your own work, through the workbook, through some of the mindset activities that we do, these opportunities or these memories might come out to you. And I encourage you, if that is something that you identify with a similar story, I cannot recommend counseling enough, whether you get Christian counseling, because I know I'm a Christian, and that is who helped me. My faith in Christ actually helped me to identify the root cause. Where is this all coming from? Now, the more food that I ate, the more that I got stressed, more happy, lonely, sad, rejected, when guys would like my skinny friends, the loud ones, because I was always insecure and an introvert. So I wouldn't speak. I just couldn't afford to look good, couldn't afford to look like them. I got bullied for it, and then bullying would make me eat more, and then the whole lies of rejection would come over and swirl in my head over and over again. And it wasn't until I got to 18 and a half, that's when the half is important, that's when I gave my life to Christ. That's when I became a Christian, reluctantly, but I became a Christian. Because you can hear my testimony. I might share my story a little bit more in the group coaching. It depends. So if you want to hear more, let me know and we can discuss it more in there. Be happy to share it with you. But the end of the story is that the light of the tunnel for me was I grew in my faith from 18, and I had a mentor, which is why I now coach women and want to come alongside women. That's what I've been called for. That's what I've been created to do. Christian women, non-Christian women. I've worked with Christian clients, non-Christian clients. And don't worry, if you're not Christian and you don't want to hear about my faith, I'm not forcing it on anybody, but this is a part of me. So if it comes out in the coaching, it's a part of me in terms of it will be relevant. If it comes out on the podcast, it comes out on the podcast. This is who I am, and this is what I believe. So it was revolutionary. It was a breakthrough for me when I had this counseling, and I actually was able to see this is where everything started for you. This is where your root cause is. And then we began to focus on healing for that. So when you're somebody who says, I don't know how to start changing my mindset around food and weight loss, some of the activities that we do in the mindset module will be identifying or helping you identify those root causes. Some of you already know what they are, but then we're focusing on not just leaving you in that place, but helping give you the tools to take the next steps to figure out what it is that stops you when it comes to that. So that was my story. And I had counseling. Not everybody needs counseling, but I had counseling. And then I got trained as a nutrition coach, as a personal trainer, as a mindset coach. And these are the tools that I give you. I equip you with those things that will help you. Now, I pray for every single one of you. I will be praying for every single one of you that the right women will join this round, this program, to be with us now, to be with us when we start September the 5th. Now, I am planning on thinking of changing the day because I know it's a holiday weekend for those in the States. It's open to everybody. If you're in the UK or you are in the US, it's open to you. But I am thinking and considering of changing the date from the 5th to the week after. That is something that you would prefer, then you can let me know in the email support@vanutritioncoaching.co.uk. So that is some of the ways that we will focus on changing your mindset around food and weight loss. And that's another reason why I've kept it as so intimate as it is with those numbers, because these things are important to discuss openly. So that is that story, and I am here. And the moral of the story is I am here. I love what I do. I love being a coach. I love coming alongside women to encourage you to get to the root causes of your struggles and not only lose the weight but keeping it off. Is so important to learn how to keep the weight off without feeling like you have to cut out everything that you like and just do boring things. We ain't got time for boring things, my friends, not at all. Now, that was important for me to share, to kind of be for you guys to get to know me a little bit more, who you're going to be coaching with, and that's kind of my story. So for you who've asked this question, I don't want to pay for something that won't work. Now, this is what Brooklyn had to say. I was afraid to sign up for macros coaching. I felt overwhelmed by all of the information about nutrition and diets, and I kept telling myself that if I knew more or read more, I'd be able to be successful. But as a busy mom of 2 boys under 5, I just didn't have the time or the energy to devote to learning about nutrition and diets in depth. But when I heard about focus on the fat loss, when I heard about this group coaching, I had no idea what it was. I had no idea how it's going to help me, but I decided that I needed to give this a shot anyway. And what I found was the program was so easy because it's designed to include busy mums like me who don't have time to read lots and lots of books on nutrition or spend hours upon hours doing research, and then you're going down a rabbit hole and then you're getting stuck deeper and deeper. Well, one of the good things for me was the weekly email lessons that Verona sends. Short, sweet, to the point, that they were just enough information to keep me encouraged, to keep me going, to keep me motivated during the week. And they didn't overwhelm me too much. But now I'm at this place where I feel amazing. Yes, with even 2 boys under 5. So not only did we lose weight together as a group and had fun doing it, but we also gained so much confidence in ourselves and each other, confidence and trust in each other. And now that I have some basic nutrition knowledge and understanding of how to use it to my advantage and how to use it to help me, I truly believe that I can achieve whatever goals I set for myself. And I'm now studying to go on to be a nutrition coach. But Verona gave me that encourage and push that I needed. Now we're going on to some family members. Another family member question is, I don't know how to prepare healthy meals for the rest of my family when they're not on board with my new eating habits. Tell me about it. So here are the 5 promises that I'm giving you when we come to focus on the fat loss. We're going to help you figure out how to prepare healthy meals that your whole family can enjoy. I'll show you how to set up a meal plan that works for both you and your family's schedule and your coin. Listen, food prices have gone up over in the UK just as much as it's gone over in the US, but I'm going to help you try to navigate that effectively. You're going to learn how to make time for cooking, even if you're busy with work and other commitments. Now, that doesn't mean cooking lots and lots and lots of overwhelming foods that just go in the bin and then they just go to waste. Number 4, you're going to learn how to make the most of your groceries. Let's make them last, friends. So you don't waste time, you don't waste your money on food that goes bad even before you can eat it. And the last one, number 5, you will be equipped with tools and the tips that you need to make sure that your children, they will eat and enjoy their meals at home, so you're not having to give them oven food every single day or drive to the drive-thru and give them food every single day. Charlotte. Now let's go to Charlotte. Charlotte has this to say. I'm a mum of 2 young children and I was worried about how I could make this work. I don't know how to cook and my family is used to eating fast food or whatever's convenient. Like, hello, we want convenient, quick, easy food. I know it's not exactly what I need to lose weight and get healthy. But then I saw Verona's video of her focus on the fat loss. I also listened to her podcast where she was helping her client, a mum specifically of children. And listening to that and seeing the video, it really made me think maybe this is possible for me too. So I signed up for her coaching program. And now here we are. My kids love the meals. I make them and they're learning to eat healthier too. And my husband isn't complaining about having to eat something different for dinner every night. So if you're like me, thinking, I just can't do this alone, don't worry. You don't have to. Sign up for Focus on the Fat Loss, the group coaching program, because it will help you lose those stubborn pounds once and for all. Now we are into the last few bits of today's episode. I hope you are still with me and I hope these questions are answering your questions, because it's important to ask questions because we need to get those answers. So somebody else has asked, what happens after the 8 weeks? Once that's done, what happens? Because I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to maintain the results. Patricia said this: I've been going through my own transformation journey over the past few months, and I can't believe how much it's changed me. I'm more confident than ever, and I found myself to be more in tune with the way my body feels. Can you notice a trend here, friends? With all of these women that did the program, they are now feeling more confident than ever. I'd always been a bit of a mess when it came to nutrition. I was never able to maintain any kind of diet beyond 1 week or 2 weeks. But now that I've learned about how to track my macros, as well as how to eat healthily and make smart decisions based on what my body needs, I feel like I have so much more control of how my body looks and how my body feels. My goal was to lose 20 pounds, which was a big goal. And I'm almost there. I'm halfway there because I've already lost 12 pounds. It's been fun. It's been scary. It's been nerve-wracking trying to see the progress each week. But I know that there's more to come throughout the following weeks. Now, if you're somebody who's interested in learning more about tracking macros for fat loss, or if you just want some help getting started, then you need to join the program. We're all asking me, when do we start? Now, I hinted at it in the beginning of the episode. We are starting exactly on the 5th of September, 2022, and we go through to the 28th of October. Now, it may push back slightly based on your feedback. If you're somebody who wants to join at that particular time after that weekend, that is when we will start, and that is on a Monday. How many coaching calls do we get? Do I record the coaching calls if you miss them live? Where do we all go? These are the last few questions that I am going to ask. We will get mini trainings every single week. 8 weeks, because this is part of the program. We are getting training. You can listen to the modules, you can work through the modules, but the proof is in the pudding. So in the group coaching, this is what we're talking you through. This is what I'm working with you through. Now, 8 weeks on live group coaching. Most coaches do every other week, but I'm doing every single week for this particular round of coaching. That's what we will do, but it will take place in a private Facebook community, and I will be recording the training over in Zoom. And yes, they will all be recorded and they will all be kept private. So where do we all join up? So we join up in the private Facebook group, and if you're not on Facebook, then let me know. But everything and the group coaching will take place in the Facebook group and the Facebook community. Now, my friends, if you're the kind of woman who wants to learn how to track your macros and you want to learn how to lose weight, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to get the results that you want, you're sick and tired of crash diets, fad diets, gimmicks, then my friends, what are you waiting for? Get up and sign up to Focus on the Fat Loss, the 7-module curriculum that gives you all of the information that you need to know about tracking macros, from basic techniques right up to advanced methods, teaching you the advanced methods to be able to maintain your weight loss. Part of maintaining your weight loss is knowing how to create your plan that matches your needs and your preferences, how to eat out following your macros goals, and how to track your macros once you started losing weight. I don't just give you macros numbers and then you stay on these numbers for the rest of your life. I teach you how to track your macros for yourself. So I've come to the end of my Q&A session. I hope this has answered all of your questions about Focus on the Fat Loss. The only thing is now, my question to you is, are you ready to make this change and to do whatever it takes to get these results? If your answer is yes, you better go and sign up, vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/focus, and I will see you in there. Hey friend, you made it to the end of the episode. What was your biggest takeaway from today's episode? Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review over on iTunes. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's episode, or you need help, then you can contact me over on Instagram at VA Nutrition Coaching Podcast, or email me support@vanutritioncoaching.co.uk. Or you can head over to the Facebook page, VA Nutrition Coaching Podcast. It helps us reach even more women who are fed up with dieting, don't know how to lose weight. They're frustrated with following Sally's results and they're not getting any of their own, and they just finally want to shed some pounds and do it in a way that they can sustain and they can enjoy. But my friends, that's a wrap for today's episode. I can't wait to catch you on the next one. Until then, friends, stay healthy, stay blessed, and remember, if you haven't already downloaded your 5-ingredient recipe pack, you can go to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/recipes and download your 5-ingredient recipe pack. Who said healthy eating was boring? See you next time, friend.